¿Cómo estás, mi gente? Aquí su servidor SoCal Crazy. I'm here to let you know, April 5th, I will be on Drinking with Mo podcast. If you get it, check it out. Call in, ask me questions. I miss all of you guys. I will be coming back, hopefully, really, really soon. But till then, catch me on Instagram. You know, you can catch me on this podcast, Drinking with Mo. Go support SoCal Pro. Support all your indie wrestling here in Southern California because we need you guys back. Okay. Thank you. I love you. I'll see you guys soon.
All right. So, everybody watching, this is Drinking at Mo's. Be sure if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, turn on the notifications because I do got some big things coming. And if you're on, let's see, we got Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Be sure to like and follow the podcast. Today we got here personal favorite of mine, somebody that was in the first ever independent wrestling show I ever went to when I was stationed down in San Diego. Quickly became a favorite of mine, and coincidentally, he was also in the last ever one that I went to before I moved back home. SoCal Crazy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. So first thing I always like to ask everybody when they come on is with getting started in wrestling. What got you started as both a fan and as a wrestler, like your start in the business?
Right. Well, geez, let's see. I've always been a big fan of wrestling. Watching it as a little kid. I was a little kid jumping off the couches and, doing the somersaults in the front yard and all that. I have an uncle who's also a very big Lucha Libre fan. So me and him would sit down like on the weekends, watch AAA, CMLL, whatever we could find, we'd watch it.
Yeah.
He was actually the one that really pushed me into pursuing this. To me, I was a fan of it, but never in a million years did I ever think of, maybe I could try it. I got pushed by my uncle and my family. My family is a huge Lucha Libre fan base as well. So a lot of them kept pushing for me to go try it. Eventually, I sucked it up. I tried it. I went to, at the time, this was around 2001, 2002. The only wrestling school at the time in San Diego was a company named California Championship Wrestling, which was CCW. And it was based out of Vista, California. But they ran a lot of their big shows at the Junior Seau Amphitheater in Oceanside, right on the beach.
Okay.
So I got hooked up with them, and that's initially where my pro wrestling training started. I got in there. I got to meet the owner of CCW, which was Charles Gibbs at the time. I met him, and he introduced me to the business. Gave me the ins and outs of it, what to expect, what not to expect. He's the one that really told me, this is an awesome business if you treat it awesome. And hopefully, I've been doing that for all these years. But training at that school, getting my start there, that's where I met B-Boy, very young B-Boy. He still had his ponytail. Matrix was there, another wrestler by the name of Matrix. Jason Redondo, Alcatraz, Eric Wright. I mean, all of Tommy Wilson, like all of these guys that were already veterans in the San Diego scene. I was lucky to train under them, and I was very lucky to have them as my trainers. And essentially, that's how it started. It was more of my family pushing me to go do it and go try it, and and I did. Yeah, and I've been very lucky in this business. I always like to say that in wrestling, unless you're a big superstar like The Rock, obviously, or somebody like that, you don't make a lot of money, but the one thing that you do get out of this business is lifelong friends. And that to me, especially what I'm going through, that to me surpasses any amount of money. I mean, you can have millions and millions of dollars. Yeah, that's cool. But can you
Yeah,
really say I have a true friend? You know what I'm saying?
that is true. You mentioned B-Boy, another one of my favorites from down there, and seeing him now coming back from that pretty crazy injury he had. And
Right.
recently I saw him, I believe it was night 2 of Joey Janela's spring break, bringing out
Cool.
the LA Fight guys. That was pretty awesome.
I did, yeah. I mean, I didn't get to see it, but I've been receiving text messages and stuff from everybody, and yeah, that's great. I mean, that whole just having B boy being front and center of your, let's just say the San Diego indie scene, just for shits and
Yeah.
giggles. Just having B boy there as a representative, as a leadership, like as our Undertaker, is amazing.
Uh,
I mean, just even thinking about it, of just going out there with Benny representing, our scene it was probably very, very special for those guys that were involved, and I really hope they cherish that because those opportunities are, long and far.
yeah, nope. And from everything I've gathered since the show happened, it seems like they've all been just soaking it up.
Good, yeah. I mean, all those guys are great. All those guys that went out there, and all the younger guys that are learning. Hunter, Judiz, Jordan, all these guys that he has at level 1, and is just he's just doing a bunch of great things out there.
Oh yeah, he's got some real great stuff going on out there with that school. You mentioned some of the stuff that you have going on. For those that like out here, for me, I'm in Nebraska, but been following you and trying to keep up with what you got going on. Let the people know about it if you're comfortable letting them know about what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm totally comfortable with it. Well, back in October, I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. So I've been battling this since October, which is why you haven't seen me out and about on the scene. It's a pretty scary diagnosis to hear when you're laying in the hospital bed. The last thing you want to hear is that word, cancer.
Yeah.
But I all of the backup that I have, my family, my wrestling friends, my wrestling fans. I feel comfortable with it. I feel comfortable talking with it. I feel comfortable living with it just because of the great background that I have. It's right now I'm in the middle of chemotherapy. So last week I just did session number 5. I have 11 total. So I have session 6 coming up next week. The chemotherapy, I'm old school, so I always saw chemotherapy like in the movies, like, a movie, like this guy got hurt, he's in chemo, whatever. But to me, personally, I never thought, well, that's never gonna affect me.
Gotcha.
But when it does, it's like, oh man, okay, it can happen to me. I'm not indestructible. No matter how many prayers or vitamins or milk I drink, I am indestructible, But like I told you, Mo, I mean, I have a really good support team, and my doctor's been good. He's been giving me a lot of good updates. The chemo is working. I'm down my cancer cell points, which I didn't even know that's how they measured cancer, but I guess it's like a point system. So I climbed down 3 more points, which is good. That's the direction that they want to go. At the same time that I'm losing the cancer cells, I'm gaining weight. So I just gained another 3 pounds, which is great because I've lost a lot of weight. So it is a scary thing, but I'm okay with it, because of everybody that's been helping me.
Oh, definitely. I can imagine going through that or any illness or injury, really, when you have that support system from the family, your friends, in your situation, right, even your fans, the way that can just uplift you can make things a lot easier to go through.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I mean, when I started wrestling, Mo, I didn't really. I mean, I knew the fans were going to be there, and they were either going to accept me or not accept me. That really wasn't in the back of my head. What was really more in my head at that time was, okay, I can't screw up. I'm finally on the stage that I want to be on. Now I have to show people that I'm a perfectionist when it comes to this. And I try to be as perfect as I can. Obviously, that doesn't work, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of the times. Um, but yeah, but it's just the outpouring of fans has been something that has blown me away. Like I have, I can't believe how much text messages or Instagram messages I receive from people just checking in on me. It's just like, wow, like, okay, I love you guys. Like, you guys are my family. Like, you guys are the reason why I'm in a position where I'm at now. And not so
Yeah.
much the cancer position, but so much as my life full of friends and family,
Yeah, no, definitely. You've, I mean, obviously seen the outpouring, and knowing that you've uh, had that impact on people has got to be something pretty special, I imagine.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, it's, a few years ago, I did a documentary. A friend of mine by the name of Ryan Loco, pretty big photographer guy. He did a documentary. I believe it was at the time. It was me and Johnny Paradise were doing a mask versus hair match for SoCal Pro.
I
And
was at that show.
you were at that one. Yeah, that was a good match. That was a good match. And I did a documentary before the show, and they were following us around. And one of the questions was, I believe, if I remember correctly, was about the fan base. And I just, to this day, I feel the same way. It's like I can't believe that all of these people like what I do. It's just something. Because, like, again, like I told you, like in the get go, I did this for me. Like for me, like I want to try it. I want to make sure that I can do this. But now to have that blessing with the fans, and it's just, oh my God, it's just like I don't even have words. All I could say is for the rest of my life, I'm going to be thanking fans, and I'm going to be here for them because it's them, it's you guys that keep me going, honestly. And it's something like, to me personally, that's something that I'm never ever going to forget.
And speaking of some of the things like that hair versus mask match that you mentioned, one of the next questions I like to ask a lot of the people I talk to is your favorite matches as both a fan, just watching, and also ones that you've been in.
Right. That's a hard one. You know what? I'm right now. I'm a big at this moment, since I've had a lot of downtime. I've been watching a lot of Ring of Honor. Um, so I've been watching a lot of old school Ring of Honor, a lot of what I like to call the Tony Khan era now of Ring of Honor. That's just starting. They just had this great super card this past weekend. One of the matches that I was. Yeah, one of the matches that I was absolutely looking forward to on that card was I believe it was the Williams Yuta match for the Pure Wrestling title. I've always been a big fan of Yuta Wheeler. I followed him, when he was with, I think it was WWN or the FIP Florida promotions. I'm not too familiar. But I've seen his stuff. I've always been a great fan of his stuff. So when I saw that match, the Williams Yuta, like I was like a little kid in a candy store. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that they're actually going to give us this match. So for me, like I love that kind of match, like the pure wrestling, the lucha libre stuff. The hardcore matches, I'll do them if it's called for. I don't really consider myself a hardcore wrestler. I will do it. I have done them. Are they fun? Yeah, they're a lot of fun. Are they dangerous? Extremely. Do they hurt? Yes, they hurt a lot.
I can imagine.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as like one particular favorite match, I don't think I can bring it down just to one match. I could say that out of everybody that I've wrestled, Johnny Paradise has taken away a lot of my life. Me and Paradise have literally, we got to know, let me just put it this way. Me and Paradise became best friends because we beat each other up.
You know, I remember when I was stationed in San Diego that I witnessed a handful of those.
Yeah. yeah. But you know what? It's whoever you're in there with, they make you that much better. And so Paradise, Tommy Wilson, Jason Redondo, all these guys, Little Cholo, TJP, all these guys that I've wrestled, Gran Rudo, Black Metal, all these guys, they always bring out the best in me and myself. So, I can't take a lot of credit just for myself. Like I credit them for my success, as far as maybe one of my favorites, for a lack of a better term, matches that I've been involved in. Back in New Wave, when New Wave was wrestling in San Diego, I had a little angle feud with Aerial Star. And so we did a match where I believe it was like a no holds barred match or a hardcore match. Anyways, he ended up running me over with a car. And,
you know what? I was actually, the last episode of this that I did, I was talking with Andrew Jasic, and he mentioned that particular storyline as one of his favorites in that entire time.
Yeah, those guys, Andrew Jasic and those guys, everybody there at New Wave, when they presented that idea to me, I was kind of iffy. I was like, I don't know if I want to get hit by a car. But then we played everything, and they ran everything down the way that me and Aerial Star were taking this feud. It only made sense for one of us to die. so we ended up doing that, and I would have to say that's probably one of the most memorable matches I've had right now, just because of that, and just because of what we did outside of the ring, and to have the crowd follow you everywhere. Like they followed us to the bathrooms, to the parking lot, to everywhere, just to have them come with you and witness all that. I think that by far has probably been the best match I've had, just because I felt a bigger connection with the crowd that night. Like they were there with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, gotcha there. I think the first two indie shows I ever went to were actually both for New Wave. I believe it was right before one of their Tidal Wave shows. I believe the first one was at a elementary school fundraiser, and it was setting up something for the Tidal Wave. And if I remember right, it was you and Aerial Star, and you both picked each other's tag partners.
Right, yeah, I do remember that.
And Chaos.
Chaos, right? Yeah. So what had happened with that was, I believe, if I remember correctly, again, if I forget details, I'm gonna blame the chemotherapy. But I believe I had just finished a feud with Chaos for New Wave. And so the whole angle for the tag partners where we were going to call each other's old rivals to tag up with ours. So that's what led to that tag match. And the match was fun. Yeah, it was me and Chaos, Joey Chaos from Santino's, taking on Aerial Star, and probably by far the best wrestler to come out of SoCal in Scott Lost.
I definitely watched a ton of his stuff and actually caught a few matches when I was down there, and it'd be hard to argue about that one.
Oh yeah. Oh, Scott. I mean, when Scott decided to retire, and I believe he requested one more match against Scorpio Sky as his final match, and you would not believe how much I bugged Scott to have one more match with me, Mo. I called him weekly. And finally, he just said, SoCal, no, it's over. It's done. I'm sorry. So finally it clicked in my head, but man, I bugged Scott for weeks.
Yeah. Oh boy, I've got some memories from all the times. One match that I was kind of bummed that I didn't get to make it to was the final New Wave show where you and B-Boy were in the cage match with Terex and Cadillac.
And Cadillac, right.
Yeah, I was just getting back from deployment. Just missed being able to go to that one.
Oh man. Yeah, I think that one was in they had, the cool thing about New Wave was their venue that they used was the downtown San Diego YMCA. And a lot of people, if you're not familiar with that building, it's actually a really cool building because it has, I believe it has 2, maybe 3 floors. The second floor, which is the main floor that you enter the building at, that's where the ring was. So, they had your basketball court.
Yeah.
That's where they put the ring. But the way that it was shaped, it looked like literally like a little mini LA Forum, because every seat was an amazing seat in that place.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I remember that Tidal Wave show.
Yeah.
Great. Loved it.
Oh, it was amazing. So when they were putting the cage up, it was, I don't know, it was just like that whole night was just like a perfect fit. Because I mean, the cage fit perfectly, the ring was perfect, the audience they were like separated perfect, like everything was just perfect. And then the match happens, and then we're in there just kicking the crap out of each other. And I remember looking at the audience and just thinking, wow, they're really glued to us. They're like, they don't even blink. So it was like, yeah. So that match was great. But again, I go back. That match was made because the fans that night, they're the ones that made most of those matches amazing.
We talked a little bit about some of the people that you're a fan of that are out there today. Who are some other ones that are wrestling right now that you consider yourself a fan of?
Wow. Let's see. Well, I do like the old school guys, like Vampiro, Blue Demon Jr., Hijo del Santo, Tiniebla, all the old school luchadors, obviously, Mysterio Sr. and all those guys. Always will look up to them, Mr. Tempest, all those dudes. There's always, every time I see some kind of old school footage, I'm always learning something, or there's always something that you learn, so. Yeah. So I always admire those guys. Nowadays, I love, a lot of our homegrown talent here. A lot, we mentioned earlier, a lot of the guys from the Level Up School. I love watching their stuff. A lot of guys from SoCal Pro Wrestling School. I love watching their stuff and love watching them grow in this business. Little Cholo and Mariachi Loco have their school in the Orange County area, and they're cranking out a bunch of good students. So right now, like it's just like a big mixing bowl of just brand new raw talent that just brings it. I'm not just saying this because I'm in SoCal and I live here, but the last 2 years, even through the pandemic, it's like the wrestling schools here in SoCal, they have been on point, on point with whoever they have.
Yeah, no, like I've considered Southern California even before I got stationed down there. And I mean, even more so now that that's where I got started on indie wrestling. It's Southern California is like definitely a mecca for like the really great independent professional wrestling. Like the talent that just comes out of there is
right.
I mean, you see it all over the place.
Yeah, it's picked up a lot. And the cool thing about our region is Not that I'm not knocking anybody else's region, obviously. To me,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Mo, I really wish we were back in the territory era of wrestling.
Mm.
Oh my God. Like the funny thing, Black Metal always tells me this. He was like, you know, if me and you were born in the 60s, 50s or 60s, we would have loved professional wrestling because we would have been traveling the territories. And that's like an ongoing joke that me and Black Metal always have because I always tell him that I was like, man, if we were in the territory area, oh my God, that would be so amazing. But you know, going back to our scene, it's we're just very lucky that we live here in San Diego and LA, and we're so close to Tijuana. Literally, one of the meccas of lucha libre, you know, is Tijuana. So for us to be so close, I always tell the students that I teach, you know, there's two rules that I always live by in professional wrestling. One is let your wrestling do the talking for you. If you can back up your words in the ring, then you will have no issues with any promoter or anybody else for that matter, because you're backing up your actions in the ring and you're showing people that you're responsible. You know, and then another one is always keep friends near you. So, you know, to have you know, this lucha libre and having friends in Tijuana and then teaching these guys the mixture of lucha and American, you know, it's amazing, especially in Southern California. Like, there's no excuse if you're a professional wrestler and you live in Southern California, you should know lucha and pro wrestling at the same time. You should have a mixture of both.
Oh yeah, especially down there. I mean, really anywhere, you know, you kind of want to be well-rounded.
Right. Yeah, and you do. I mean, because obviously wrestling is worldwide. So, you know, if you have those two in your back pocket, you know, you can travel to Japan, travel to another country, and the spoken language might not be there, but I guarantee you the wrestling mentality will always be there.
And we've kind of gone over some of the stuff on the current crop of professional wrestling. Do you have any more opinions on like the current state of professional wrestling in general? Like there's, like, in my opinion, there's so many choices out there. It's like, if you don't like one thing, you're bound to be able to find something that you're just going to latch on to.
Yeah, no, and you're right. I mean, I think nowadays we're lucky that wrestlers have a lot of choices where they can go now. I've always been a fan of WWE. I've always been a fan of the product. WWE, to me, it's always going to be WWF. But I've always been a fan of their product. But with the state of wrestling now that we have, you know, AEW and I believe, you know, Tony Khan recently purchasing ROH, AAA and CMLL, you know, knocking on the door here of the US, bringing shows over here. So now it's like, yeah, I believe this is where wrestling needs to go and it needs to stay. We need to have a lot of options, not just one company, unfortunately. To me, it'll just make the scene a lot better, and it'll make wrestlers work that much more better or work harder to get that spot, you know? I'm so happy to all my friends in the business that have been picked up by AEW or WWE or TNA or AAA. You know, it makes me so happy when I see guys busting their butts alongside me for years and years and years, and they finally make it on the big tube, and they're doing their deal. And you know, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling to see your coworker on television and be like, well, I know exactly what they went through. You know, we went through the same thing. So to have that option, those TV options and these other companies, to me right now, honestly, at this point, wrestling is in good hands. It's in a good state. Hopefully it gets better. You know, we can only pray that it gets a lot better. And I really hope it does.
No, I think right now, like I said, with all the choices, it can really only continue to go up because, like, so many choices as far as, you know, the TV products. So like,
Right.
there's so many as far as independent promotions, and they're getting more exposure with things like the Fight app.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, even that app alone, the Fight app, is really helping out. Um, the funny thing is, the other day I was channel surfing on my Roku, and I had no idea, but I came up to a channel and it said TNA channel.
Mm.
It got me by surprise because I was like, TNA channel, and I clicked on it, and yeah, they were showing like, I think it was like 2018 Slammiversary or something.
Huh.
But it took me by surprise. I'm like, wow, like they gave TNA a whole channel, which is great. Like, I'm all for that. If they can give Ring of Honor or AEW like their own channel, oh man, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, no, can't argue there. One other thing, let me see my list here. Looking towards the future, hopefully whenever you're able to get back, what are some matches that you would want to be in?
Well, there's a lot actually. Taking this time off makes you think a lot. I have a list of that I like to call, it's my list of wrestlers that got away from me. So there's a lot of people on my list that unfortunately I won't be able to wrestle anymore. Either they retired or just moved on.
Yeah.
But I would love to come back. I'm not finished yet. I don't feel like I'm finished yet. I feel like I still have a lot more to give to wrestling, and hopefully, if the fans allow me to, I will do that once I'm 100% healed. I really want to get out there and just mix it up with all these younger people coming out. I think that would be a good way to start or restart my career, I guess, if you want to say that. Is testing the waters with all the new faces out here in SoCal. Definitely got to get back. Got to take care of my business in SoCal Pro. EWF, Lucha Pro, all of the promotions that gave me a shot. Definitely gonna want to go back to them and return the favor to them. Give them my thank you. So if God allows me, I really hope to come back and just mix it up with everybody. Benny B-Boy still owes me a match, so definitely got to go back and cash in on that. Tommy Wilson still owes me, so there's still a few names out there that I didn't get my hands on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you and you know what? I think I saw a handful of you and Tommy Wilson, and I mean, two of my favorites, you and B-Boy. Oh, I'd love to be there for that one. Yeah,
I've been doing this. It'll be 19 years in September, and there's two names that every time I see those names, partnered up with me, that I'm gonna wrestle that particular person that night.
Yeah,
I always get nervous. And those two names are B-Boy and Little Cholo. I don't know what it is about them. I don't know what it is, but I get so nervous, Mo, when I wrestle those two guys. Like, and then when I talk about nervous, like my hands get sweaty, I get anxious, I get butterflies. It's like day one all over again. And I don't know. I have no idea why I get like that. And it's only with them two. So it's always a test for me when I wrestle them.
No, I can understand that. I mean, you hear a bunch of wrestlers always talk about that butterfly in the stomach feeling sort of deal.
Yeah, you do, and it's so weird because I've been blessed and lucky enough to wrestle big names, people that I've watched growing up, and I've never had that feeling. It's always been, okay, let's go to work. But with them, I have no idea why that happens.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, never really thought of anything like that. One thing I was thinking of when you brought up the, fans allowing you back. Oh, I don't think you're going to have an issue there. Especially with the response when I had you, when I asked you to record that little intro that I'm going to put before this, the response that got, hands down, I do not doubt that anybody wouldn't be welcoming you back with open arms.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Like I said, I mean, I miss everybody. I miss walking into the building with my suitcase or my gear bag. I miss standing I miss the smell of the ropes. I miss the smell of the canvas. Just the smell of the venue itself. It's just, I really hope that I get accepted back. I mean, you're right. I'm pretty sure I will. It's just, I guess I just can't wait for that moment. I feel like I'm a little kid waiting for Christmas.
You know what? I can understand. I know I actually got the opportunity to do a special guest ring announcing spot for a couple friends of mine when they wrestled the show up in Fargo, North Dakota. And like literally the last day or two leading up to that, I was like, oh my God. So I can only imagine after being gone for a while and getting that first match back, when you actually get that set, man, those last couple of days leading up to that's just got a heart going like crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm sure once it gets closer to the day, I'll probably start feeling that way. Making sure that I don't screw up, making sure that I know how to walk in the ring, first of all, let alone run. So I'm sure, again, luckily I have a lot of schools close to me, so I'll be able to go in there and work out a little bit before that happens. But again, it all falls back to me just, waiting and getting healed up, first and foremost, obviously. So once this goes away, then yeah, we'll definitely be there for sure.
All right. One thing I always like to talk to everybody, something non-wrestling related, and we've through Instagram, I've seen a lot of stuff on my personal favorite baseball team right now, as you can kind of wearing the hat right now.
Yes.
Padres. I'll send you a picture of it. I actually got a tattoo on my left calf of the logo with
nice,
with a anchor hanging from it for my little tribute to San Diego and my time there with the Navy.
Oh, awesome.
So
we do miss you. We do miss you for sure. Hopefully you can make it back out here.
Oh yeah, no, I've been looking into it. I know there's been a couple other guys down there that I talked to about wanting to, make it down to a Padres game and make it down to some shows. What's your opinion on the current crop of Padres players? Because I know for a while it's been like, back in the day with fans of the Cubs, how it was like they were on that kind of a downhill slope there for a while. And now, in my opinion, for the Padres, they've definitely been improving lately. Like what was it, like a year or two ago, they're making the playoffs, and they keep on consistently at least getting close.
Right. Yeah, I think it's going to be a work in progress. The Padre organization, first and foremost, for the record, I'm a huge Padre fan. Yeah, always will be. Actually got, when I moved out of San Diego, the first tattoo that I got was an SD logo tattoo. But yeah, it's I like the team this year. I like the pickups they did. It seems like they have a pretty good roster. I'm glad Machado and I decided to stay. I know that was a big issue of if he was going to go, if he was going to stay. I believe he signed an extension, so I think he's going to be a Padre for a while. Same with Tatis. You know, we locked Tatis down for a while, so I believe just having those two core guys there and building around them, which I believe is what they're doing, will get us somewhere. We have been scratching the playoffs, which is great. You know, last year I believe was a little disappointing. We should have gone a little further than where we went. So I was a little disappointed last year, but you know, every season is a new season. We'll see what turns out this season. You know, I haven't been able to check out their spring training at all, unfortunately, but I do get alerts on my phone, or so any mistake or error, my phone always goes off. Like, oh, the Padres screwed up again. So, but I'm really optimistic for this season. I think we're going to scratch the playoffs again. I want to say, I'm going to go on a limb and say we get hopefully 60 wins. I hope.
I'm hoping
so
that
I'm
myself.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, somebody got me in a fantasy baseball league, and I'll admit I picked up a handful of Padres players because I'm like, ooh, I'm huge on that guy. I believe Machado was actually my first pick. I'm like, okay, nice. I'm getting him before somebody else does.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing was on when Machado was with the Dodgers. You know, I'm not a Dodger fan, obviously, being a Padre fan. You know, Machado was the least name that I wanted to hear. Like, I did not want to hear Machado's name anywhere, not on the papers, not on magazines, because he would always kick our butts, always.
Yeah.
You know, like for some reason Machado knew the kryptonite for the Padres, and when we finally got him, I was the first one to go buy a Machado jersey.
Yeah, no, that he is one guy. I hope they hold on to him for a while.
Yeah, I really hope so. I hope so. I mean, again, him and Tatis, you know, they're the heartbeat right now. So I really hope they stick around.
All right. One thing I like to do to round off the show is do a little bit of a speed round sort of deal where I name some people, maybe a couple, a wrestling promotion or two. You give me your thoughts on them.
Okay.
All right. First off, guy that didn't fare so well this what was Saturday or Sunday, it was on WrestleMania, Rey Mysterio.
I'd have to say an absolute god. Being from San Diego, Rey Mysterio, obviously this is his hometown. I was able to meet, you know, his uncle and train his senior. So for me, the Mysterio family is always going to be. They're always going to be gods to me. They're way up here.
Definitely can't argue there. I mean, he, as far as professional wrestling in general, you can't argue with those that have been able to stick around for as long as he has.
Yeah, and you know what? And for the stuff that he's been able to do all these years, it's just like the guy's just a god. Like, I don't know how else to describe him other than that. Like, how do you put your body through so much for so many years and still crank them out like if it was yesterday? You know, it's just amazing. He's just incredible, Rey Mysterio. And his son Dominic, the same, an incredible talent, just like his father. You know, really fun to watch. It gives me goosebumps just watching them. I believe I got a highlight when they won I believe they won the tag titles on Raw. I believe it was Raw.
Raw or
And
SmackDown, one of the two. Yeah.
right. Yeah. And just the mere fact that it was Mysterio and Dominic as the tag team, father and son, not so much father and son, but more the Mysterio lineage to carry that is just, it's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, totally agree. And some next on the list that I had here for the speed round, a guy that they're very closely tied to, Eddie Guerrero.
Again, God as well. Eddie Guerrero, we lost him way too soon, way too soon. He had a lot more to give, not only to wrestling, but to the world, period.
Well, totally agree. And, there's not a lot of people that you hear when they pass, and it's like everybody is really only saying good things. You don't really hear anybody say too much bad about him. I mean,
right.
he even before he passed, he acknowledged the demons that he
right.
fought, and he made no secret of it. But you could tell, especially the last couple of years, he was really doing everything he could to make things better.
Right. Well, the good thing, he did. A few years ago, when his, I think it was his autobiography that came out. Don't remember the name of the book. It might have been Playing with Fire or Latino Heat, something. But it was Eddie Guerrero's book. I read that thing. Oh man, I must have read that thing 3 or 4 times, and I highlighted specific passages that are in that book. And you're right. It's just everything that he shared in that book was like, it made me feel a lot closer to him, even though I didn't know him personally.
Yeah.
But it made me feel a lot closer to him just because throughout my wrestling journey, I had experienced battling some of those demons myself. Just like regular people do, they battle demons all the time. And so for me to read that and actually be staring at the book, Mo, and just looking at the book and be like, oh my God, I did the exact same thing. It was a real eye opener. So for me, Eddie Guerrero, even if he wasn't in wrestling, just to read that biography of his was that caught me. That immediately made me an Eddie Guerrero non-wrestling fan, if that makes any sense. It made me a fan of the person.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's one thing being a fan of, the wrestler side, but somebody doing the things that he was doing, especially after everything that he went through, definitely be a fan of the person outside of that. Totally.
Yeah, no, and for sure. And I credit Eddie Guerrero and that book for helping me a lot, because like I told you, I mean, I was dealing with a lot of demons myself, and before I got diagnosed with this cancer deal, I was self-medicating myself. I never listened to doctors. I never took Tylenol for pain. I never did any of that stuff. I always just self-medicated, thinking, okay, I'm going to drink this. It'll be cool. I'll wake up tomorrow morning. We'll do the show number 2 and life will go on, So I totally understand Eddie Guerrero, which is why for me, he's up there with the Mysterios.
Oh, definitely. Another guy we've talked about a little bit before, mentioned another one of my favorites, B-Boy.
Mm-hmm. B-Boy is by far, he's family, to me, B-Boy can't do anything wrong. I owe him a lot. I owe him my career. I owe him with opening the doors for me. I will always be in debt to B-Boy until I die. Always be in his debt. And even now, I bug him. I'll ask questions. So he's just a great guy. He's always be there for me. He's a guy that I know will always take my calls.
Definitely. I've, like I said, always been a fan, and I mean, I know he's quite busy lately, but here sometime soon, definitely wouldn't mind having him on.
Oh yeah, I think right now because he's back from his injury. Right now, it's like everybody just stay out of B-Boy's way. Let him do his deal. Let
No,
him go conquer the world that he conquered before, and then
totally.
you guys can catch up with him after.
Yeah, no, especially with the amount of time he had to take away from that injury. It's like I can only imagine once you're able to actually jump back in there, you just want to bam, full force.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not wise, but it is. It's that what we like to call that ganas. That determination to get back in there no matter what.
No, I can understand. All right. Next two that I have, two different promotions that I actually got to see you in during my time down there. New Wave Pro and SoCal Pro.
Right. So those two companies are obviously always going to hold a special meaning in my heart because one, they both of those companies were family started. Both of those companies are my family. New Wave and SoCal Pro Wrestling, they pretty much started around the same time. Um, SoCal Pro, which is I consider SoCal Pro my home promotion. Um, that's run by Jeff Dino, and they've been doing great things for the last 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
I've had opportunities at SoCal Pro that I never would have had anywhere else. SoCal Pro helped make the SoCal Crazy name, and that's something that I'm always going to cherish, and always going to be in debt to SoCal Pro and Jeff personally. Um, I I can't wait to get back into a SoCal Pro ring. It feels like it's been years. Um, so I can't wait. I can't wait to get back in there. I can't wait to get back to the school and start teaching and training again. Same, unfortunately with New Wave, New Wave closed its doors, so they're no longer running. But the time that they were running, New Wave um, was ahead of the game. They were running angles and storylines and all this stuff where most companies were just running matches at the time. They weren't really running storylines, and I like
Yeah.
to credit New Wave with a lot of the storytelling um, that I do. I like to credit New Wave and teaching me how to project that story to the crowd, because one thing that Trevor and Andrew Jasic had and still have is they have an awesome mind when it comes to wrestling, as far as creativity and running a show or anything like that. Those guys are amazing, and everything that they put into New Wave and they did was amazing. So yeah, SoCal Pro and New Wave, and I'm going to throw in there EWF also. EWF, those three companies have been nothing but. Those three companies are the reason why SoCal Crazy is on the map.
Gotcha. Yeah, no. Even when talking with Andrew Jasic, I believe it was last week. Yeah, even all this time that he's been out of wrestling for a few years now, he still has a really great mind for it.
Oh yeah. He's by far, like I said, him and Trevor by far. They're two of the. It's just it makes me mad sometimes because sometimes I'll think of something about wrestling and I can't get it, but I call him and he's like, "Oh, do this," and it's like, "What? Like how fast? How did that get in your head that quickly?" So it's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So lastly, one last one I have, going back to Padres. Mr. Padre Tony Gwynn.
Yes. What can we say about Tony Gwynn? I mean, Mr. San Diego, Mr. Padre, played his entire career with the Padres. Probably one of the very first players. Him and Benito Santiago were the very first two Padre players that I started following. But yeah, I mean, every chance I get to go down to San Diego, my first stop is always Petco Park and pay tribute to Tony Gwynn's statue.
Definitely. I remember when I first heard about Tony's passing, I was like, he was one of the main players that got me to be a fan of them. And, you know, like a lot of people, especially down there in San Diego, that one hit kind of hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it hit us all hard, you know, because I remember that day I had just heard, I think he had just played, or he was coaching San Diego State at the time.
Yeah.
And they had just, I don't know if they were on the road or they had just gotten back from the road. But that morning, I remember turning the television on, and it was everywhere. You know, Mr. Padre, Tony Gwynn has passed away, and to me, it felt like an uncle of mine passed away. It just hit me really hard. I do remember the rest of the day. I was just devastated. You know, I couldn't go on with my regular routine.
Oh yeah, no, that one, for anybody that was a fan of the Padres, that one hit hard. Lastly, to kind of end it off, I know you mentioned, well, in the intro about Instagram. I want to give you a chance to plug your social media so anybody that isn't already following you can go ahead and give you a follow.
Cool. Thank you. Well, again, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, Big Mo, first and foremost. Like I told you in our text and phone call conversations, your family, you have a place to stay over here anytime. You know it. Just walk on in, put on my pajamas. We're set.
All right.
But as far as you can catch me on Instagram. As far as social media, I only really deal with Instagram. I don't really deal with Twitter or anything like that. To me, I'm old school, so Instagram is a little better for me. But I also would like to take this opportunity, not so much to plug myself, but if you guys can go ahead and, you know, you are on Instagram, follow Little Cholo, follow my tag partner, Mariachi Loco. This is a mixture of both of our masks. So I got Mariachi Loco's horns and my stars. So this mask was obviously when we were tagging, we would wear this. So like I said, follow Little Cholo, follow Mariachi Loco, follow B-Boy, follow Santino Brothers Wrestling, Level Up Wrestling, SoCal Pro Wrestling, EWF Wrestling, Lucha Pro. Follow all of the SoCal promotions out here because like I told you guys, without you fans, we're nothing. Like we're just two guys wearing spandex, standing in a ring, not doing anything. So we need you guys. The fans are our blood. They're our heart. Again, I'll repeat this until I die. Us wrestlers are nothing without you guys. So please follow me, follow all the guys, all the companies that you can. Let's get SoCal Wrestling back on the map like it was before. If it's not there already, you know, let's get the nation. Let's a word out to the nation that SoCal Wrestling is back.
Oh yeah, I have a good feeling now that things are starting to open back up. People are going to be itching to get out there to the shows.
And I hope so. I really do. And again, I'll be back hopefully next year. January is the time frame that they gave me. So I hopefully hope to see you guys all starting in January. But like I said, if you guys want to chit chat or anything, hit me up on Instagram. You guys have any wrestling questions or anything like that, or curiosity of wrestling, anything, I'm always there. So hit me up. I don't really go out as much. The chemo has me on house lockdown. So I'll be here.
No. And speaking of that January, when you get a date locked down, be sure to let me know because I'm definitely going to try to look into getting out there for that.
For sure, yes. As soon as I know more details, or more details are in concrete, I will definitely let you know, Mo, and I'll let everybody know, and we'll get the ball rolling from there.
All right. So that's about all we have for today. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
No, on the contrary. Thank you, Mo. Again, this is an awesome platform. I continue with this. I wish you nothing but success on this. I really hope this turns into something huge for you. I really do, because you're one of the coolest guys on earth. So if anything happens, it better happen to you.
I appreciate that. I actually, before we end, I got something that I'm wanting to, when I stop the recording, that I was going to tell you that I got to kind of keep secret.
Okay, no problem. Between us.
All right. Let me get